It's Monday, November 14th. This is a SPY recap for the start of the week. You can see here we end up with a bit of a reversal looking red day where we took out the high of the previous day and closed a little bit near the lows. Now, we were certainly anticipating a little more upside action after yesterday's big green week to the upside. But after such big moves with a big gap and then follow through, there's a little exhaustion risk or pause risk in this case, the way I see it. And as it turns out, we technically have moved above the green bar high. So, until we go above the open of today higher, we could have a red week developing. But as long as we kind of hold the midpoint of this green bar on the way down, at some point we'll still be expecting a reversal up and just have to watch price action for that. In terms of today's price action, the pre-market range was kind of near the highs of yesterday's range, and we opened up kind of near the bottom, but we had a red to green move. We were above the halfway point of yesterday at that point. So the first move of the day kind of took us up just to the pre-market highs and then stalled. This was yesterday's highs. And then we had a pullback. And then we had one other, move up that then had our secondary move of the day, buying up here, took out both the intraday highs and yesterday's highs, and that was it. So we had kind of two directional moves in our expected direction, and then obviously the market sold off big. And again, at this point, you can't predict this, but I'm not usually trading this afternoon activity unless it relates to some other context. And for now, the context is still up, even though you're at exhaustion risk after all this move up. So never surprising to see broadening. Once you're at exhaustion risk, you broaden higher and have some of these sharp moves that are just, you see if they're kind of just temporary moves or if it might lead to something bigger. But in this case, some of the key markers to look for as we have this red day, since we didn't really move to the lows of yesterday, if we just kind of have a two down day tomorrow, the target is really just the low of this bar. We don't have to get down here. We don't have to fill this gap, although it is possible. So just know that if we have a down day, it is possible. We're just kind of holding in here and maybe forming a little bit of a range before starting up again. It is possible if we have a strong move down, we then start, looking at this gap to fill. This is right from this high to this low is a big fair value gap, and this is an actual gap. So it can come all the way down there, which would be about the midpoint of that prior week. But at this point, the purple line turns the monthly chart back red temporarily. So we kind of want to see even if we go below there a little bit, if at some point we start above there, then this monthly chart is still, green to the upside. And we still for November are anticipating heading up to September's high. So we're kind of still watching for, at this point, just good signals to buy. Obviously, this is our first little pullback, so if we get any move above the midpoint of today and start higher, that's always possible. It looks like we want to kind of fill in some of this gap lower, so there's going to be some ideal entry if everything works out where we kind of come down, we fail to hit a target down here and then start up eventually with a two up kind of day or some kind of, like today, if we take out the lows of today and then move to the halfway point of that tomorrow, that would be a buy signal. So there's a bunch of ways to buy, but for now it looks like we're in pause territory. And again, this was kind of what you're almost expecting. Buys to the upside. You actually had two attempts here to take some to take the first move of the day and then the second move of the day, and now we just have to see this sell-off where it kind of leads a little bit, with still an up bias overall, but knowing we might have to be patient before the next good buy signal. And if there's some little sell signal tomorrow, just know that you're kind of looking for it to kind of move into this gap. But at any moment it might fail in there and then at some point start to reverse up. So keep that in mind as well.